Goeiedag, dit. My name is Wildcard. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching the Wildcard Rugby Show. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the reigning, the defending, the undisputed, the #1 team in the world, the Amaboku Jurassic Erasmus with his nuclear bomb squad ventured into Murray Field and took the Scottish team like a vice grip, especially in their second half, and won the game in a pretty tight struggle of arm wrestle. I have to say that the Scottish team really put on a massive performance, massive shifts, some massive hits left and right. I thought Ibn Esbeth was dead at one point after taking a hit, right? I've never seen Ibn Esbeth getting hit and pushed back like that pretty much ever. So really, the Scottish team brought the physicality, and eventually the 7-1 bomb squad off the bench was just a little bit too much for the Scotland team to handle. The Scotland team was doing so good in the first half. There was a red card issued for the Scotland side, 20-minute red card, and the Springboks wasn't really able to capitalize on that 20 minutes efficiently despite playing against 14 players. But it was the second half. The bomb squad came on. The Springboks had a yellow card. They had to play 10 minutes. Was managed the 10 minutes quite well with that additional bodies on the field. The Uber, you probably say the nuclear bomb squad in the second half, and really, despite a play in the bin for 10 minutes, the Scotland side wasn't able to breach through the defensive line. There was a number of very clinical calls from the referee, and I think a lot of people might be a little bit surprised, I guess, a little bit confused with some of the law changes recently. So yeah, number one, first of all, this is a fake microphone. It's not actually connected, so I'm just gonna hold it here to make me look like I'm actually professional. So yes, there was a couple of calls that I think a lot of guys are not really know about. First of all, the red card in the first half to was it Darsh that got the first red card? Who was it at the red card? The number 5. Um, who was it that got a red card? So yeah, that was interesting because Scott Cummings landed on the leg, but I think it was Rory Darge that got that actually did the roll, the neck roll, on the South African player. So this was kind of similar situation to the Irish game where Caelan Doris landed on Malcolm Marx, despite the fact that I think it might have been James Ryan or something. One of the other guys was doing the neck roll. So it was the combination of the two moves that makes it dangerous. I talked about this in the Springboks versus Ireland game, the second test. A lot of people disagree with me, said I was wrong. Here it is. This is a typical example. Whilst it didn't look very dangerous at all, a lot of people might say that's just really nothing there. But the two moves, like I explained in the past, the two moves performed separately. If you land on someone's leg, it's not really dangerous. If you roll someone, it's not really that dangerous as well. It's a combination of two. When you roll and you put the leg in a twisted position, and the joints are having tension on that twisted position, and then you land on it, it's almost like a guaranteed injury. This is something that rugby league and the American football has outlawed, called the hip drop tackle, which is the same idea. It's basically you twist the player and then you land on their leg to stop the player from running forward, deliberately causing an injury. And this is basically the same idea. The twist and the landing on the leg it's warranted of the red card. Even though neither move looked like there wasn't that much of a twist. Like you could even argue, like I said, it was Roy Darge that did the twisting. Scott Cummings just landed on the leg, very so slightly. So it was the combination of the two that got him sent off with a red card. It is the law today, and I think it is the right law. You might say it's a bit soft, but like the injury rates for this move is extortionately high. So that they have to outlaw this. They have to be very strict on this, like it or not. And it's not like a head collision. It's not like head collision where you just take a few weeks off. This could take months off, sometimes ending people's careers because of a knee injury as a result of landing on this. It is something that definitely has to be hammered down. There was another thing that I think a lot of Scottish fans were very confused and unhappy about as well. Is when there was a try that was scored. I think it was what's his name? Might be Hugh Jones made a nice break. Who's a young that fella's name? Jordan. I think Tom. No, Tom Jordan. No. Tom Jordan linked up with Ben White. I think there was a Ben White try that was disallowed following a Hugh Jones knock on a couple phases leading into it. And basically, what happened was this try was given, and the conversion was taken, and then the referee scrubbed out both the try and the conversion. And I know a lot of you guys probably remember the old laws says that once you take the conversion, you cannot revert back to disallow the try anymore. That law has been changed, and it's called the Bernard Foley clause. Actually, it's not the Bernard Foley clause, but this law was changed because of Bernard Foley, so I call it the Bernard Foley clause. And this happened in the Blood Flow Cup in 2022, the one where he wasted time and got cost the Wallabies the game. Basically, that's the one where earlier in the match he did a bit of a shenanigans where he threw a forward pass to Andrew Callaway for a try, and he quickly took the penalty, took the conversion to stop the TMO check, even though the referee Matthew Renaud was telling him, "Hey, don't take the kick. We're checking this. Don't take the kick." And Bernard Foley just kicked it anyway, knowing that the law states that you can no longer check once the conversion has been taken. So he did that to kind of like, we take a little bit of advantage over the referee, and the World Rugby changed the law as a result of that. So even if you take the goal, they can still reverse the try all the way up till the kickoff. So once the ball has been kicked off, then you can no longer change the try. So that was the thing. One thing that Scottish fans might be arguing is that you can only check 2 phases leading into the try. You might say that I don't know exactly how many phases it's been, but it might have been more than 2 phases before the Hugh Jones tiny knock on in the rocks, and the TMO shouldn't be able to go back that far to check it. But it's something that I guess you can argue. In addition to that, overall, I feel the referee Christopher Riley did pretty clinical job tonight. Very, very clinical, despite all the booing and all that sort of stuff. Pretty much most of the calls were made correctly, in my opinion. Very clinical, might be a bit too tough on some of the calls, but it's by the book to the T correct calls, right? And like the scrummaging as well. There after was there were especially in the first half. Well, what's his name? The Scotland player. I think it was on the left hand side. So it would have been Xander Fagan. No, it would have been Skuman. Skuman on the left hand side. He had his elbow on the ground. The referee did not immediately give it a penalty. He gave Skuman a chance to get his elbow back up, and Skuman wasn't able to do so. And then the penalty was given out. I thought that was, like, again, very, very knowing the law to the T tells me about the referee, because the law book actually says you're allowed to push your hand on the ground temporarily to stabilize the scrum. And despite Skuman had his elbow on the ground, the referee did not give penalty immediately. He gave Skuman an opportunity to get it back up, because you are actually allowed to do that. So I thought that was just actually quite good from the referee, because a lot of referees would immediately give the penalty as soon as they see like a hand or an elbow on the ground. So that's again, I thought Christopher Riley very, very clinical. Same with the breakdowns. At least like it was very harsh in breakdowns, but I thought it was at least consistent both ways. And you might argue that it was probably a bit too harsh, disrupt the flow a little bit too much, but it was definitely consistent. There was one thing I was having an issue with, is because the Scottish commentary was arguing once again that the 7-1 bench was too dangerous. I think that it's a professional game. If you're arguing that just being big and tough is too big and too dangerous, then you can make that argument for just about every position on the bench, right? You can say that, hey, you can't put a big winger on the bench. You can't have a big winger on the bench because, a fresh winger, speed and power equals, force equals speed times weight, right? If you have a big winger on the bench, the speed that he brings and the weight that he brings is dangerous to the other winger on the field. You can make the same argument for everything on the bench, right? So I think it's just a professional game, and then you just have to build your team up and have a bigger bench, a better bench. In addition, speaking of bench, I do think that Scotland actually played the wrong strategy, in my opinion, with the bench. They try to offset the 7-1 bench with a 6-2 bench of themselves, and it kind of played into the South African hands in the second half, because that's what the South Africans want. They want you to build pressure into the tight areas around the rucks and just having your big forwards run into their bigger forwards, right? And it's like you're running into it's like you're running into a brick wall, and that's exactly what the South Africans want you to do. And I thought they probably better off had an extra center or have an extra winger on the bench for the Scotland team to actually play a bit wider, because when the Scotland team played a bit wider, we saw with Hugh Jones, we saw with what's his name, with Van der Merwe as well. when they play a bit wider, they're actually getting over the advantage line. But when they play tight, because all you have are fresh forwards on the field, that's your fresh legs, you're actually just running into the brick wall. You're running into the game pattern that the Springboks like to play, and thus the basically second half, despite Scotland trying, throwing everything they can at the Springbok team, the Springboks was very comfortable. They're happy to make 50 tackles in their own half without giving away a penalty, and they will look very comfortable. And slowly but surely, they strangle the game back with the scrum dominance, and then just slowly but surely smother the game out of reach in this typical Springbok fashion there. So I thought maybe a bit of a misplay there because Finn Russell, the magician, was able to pull the rabbit out of the hat a couple of times with some crossfield kicks, really brilliant stuff. And I just think that the width of the game when the Scotland deployed looked much better than they just belting through the middle like they did in the second half because they had an extra forward coming off the bench. The Springboks I thought was interesting to see a couple of things. The maybe because of the 7-1 bench, Jaden Hendrickson was given a lot of game time tonight. It was probably about 17 minutes. Also, I think Marcus Zonopimpa had a yellow card as well. But Jaden Hendrickson was given a lot of the time. I thought he had a pretty rough game tonight. The counter right from the Scotland team on the breakdown was really, really good. I was thinking that maybe he was going to get yanked off the field like 45, 50 minutes, 45 minutes into the game. But no, Rassi shot a lot of trust in Jaden Hendrickson. Obviously, Hendrickson has been one of the most prominent guys coming through the ranks for a number of years now since the Lions tour, where he debuted against the Lions, I guess for the Sharks, I think at the time, and he got sent off with the red card with the elbow to the ground, and long has gone that Jaden, but yeah, I was very surprised that Grant Williams wasn't given a bit more game time despite how much struggling he was having under the break. I guess that's how you build a player, right? You need to get him to get used to the pressure, get used to disruptions, and figure out how to handle it whilst delivering quicker balls. But like it was noticeable once Grant Williams came onto the field, the Springboks looked a lot more smoother and a lot more faster around the breakdowns as well. Outside of that, yeah, I thought there was pretty much a chess game, and the Scotland team brought a lot of physicality, and I think a lot of Scotland fans would be very happy with that performance, regardless of the result. And yeah, hopefully I clarified that a little bit for everyone in terms of the law. But I thought the referee was very, very clinical and and quite consistent. Not really much to complain about, to be really frank with you. So let's have a look at the results. 32 points to 15 for the mighty Springboks. Scotland, like I said, could not breach the defensive line. The one try that was scored was scrubbed, but I just think that they just try to jam the middle of the field is exactly how the Springboks trained and how the Springboks likes to play, and that was the issue there for the Scotland side. Let's look at the stats now. 4 tries to 0, 416 run meters for South Africa to the Scotland 316. 111 carries for the Springboks, 98 for Scotland. 16 turnovers conceded against the Springboks, 15 against Scotland. This just shows you how much breakdown pressure that was applied from both teams, and I think that this will be a pretty good stat for Scotland because Springboks, as the breakdown protection is one of the key areas that they'll emphasize. They do emphasize in their game plan, and I think that Rassi Erasmus will not be happy with this number post game analysis. 146 tackles made for Scotland, only 17 missed tackles. Yeah, it's not because the missed tackle count that was the reason. It was just the sheer pressure and size from the bomb squad in the second half. 125 tackles made for the Springboks, 26 missed tackles. There was 2 really nice kick over tries for Makazula Mapimpi, and really good to see him returning with some bringing back some of the flair that we've known for a while. He's been falling out of favor for the Springbok starting team for a while, and it's good to see him with return. Whilst he did get a yellow card, but yeah, it's good to see him 2 tries today. 26 kicks for the Springboks, 22 for Scotland. The high ball is back because they changed the law. You're not allowed to protect your receiver anymore, and I think that maybe we're going to see more and more box kicks going into the future. Kicks in hand, 603 and 593. Like I said, there's lots of box kicks, not much distance out of these kicks. Bit of a lot of intricate pinpoint accurate kicks here and there. Line outs, 2 loss of Scotland out of 11, 3 loss for Springboks out of 14, something that the coaching staff might not be happy about. There was a couple of lineouts that was stolen as well, straight up stolen from the Scotland side. Two scrum lost for Scotland. That's in addition to the insurmountable amount of penalties that was given away, especially in the second half. 11 penalties considered for Scotland, one red card, one yellow card to to the Springboks, to Makazuna Mapimpi, who was offside close to the try line making a tackle. And that's just a bit sloppy. And I think maybe the repeated penalties close to the try line also built up a bit of a pressure for the referee to giving out a yellow. I think that was pretty much, yeah, it was pretty much a guaranteed yellow card there, even without the repeated penalties, because he was very clearly offside and made a tackle close to the try line. Potentially, you can argue that he was potentially, potentially, yeah, obstructed an opportunity for a try there. You could argue for the red yellow card case. So yeah, overall, yeah, I don't know what to say. I do think that the 6-2 bench, Gregor Townsend needs to have a think about. You're playing into the Springboks' strength. You have to pretty much find another way to try to push through the defense. And yeah, it is a tough one. It is a tough one. It is a chess game, and the Springboks had the king cornered with the bomb squad coming onto the field, and you just have to figure out a way to get around it instead of running through it, right? So yeah, let's go through some of the scoring of the game for a recap. So there was some early counter pressure. There was a penalty for the Springboks. They didn't even take the three. Immediately kicked the line out. They go for the line out. There was more penalty advantage, and Hunter Pollock got the ball, feed back to him. Nice crossfield kick straight to the bread basket of Mekazuna Mapimpi. Try time, 5 points to 0. It looked too easy. Scotland was almost like shell shocked at this point. 10 minutes into the game, there was the yellow card, the red card occurred. Like I said, the rolling combined with landing on the leg is the dangerous part, and Scott Cummings was sent off with a red card for 20 minutes. 20 minutes red card. So this is a difference between 20-minute red card, because this is kind of like a unintentional red card, but if you were to come out and punch somebody in the face, you can still get sent off the full, you know, full game red card suspension is still in play in that sort of situation. 17 minutes into the game, there was illegal blocking by Franco Mostert. I guess he hasn't got updated to the law. 3 points to Scotland. 20 minutes into the game, there was another breakdown penalty against the Springboks. Lots of high pressure, and the Scotland takes another 3, 6 points to 5. There was a quick tap that was taken by Jen Hendrickson, and then it was immediately knocked on by Margo Smith. A little bit funny there. 29 minutes of the game, the ball was overthrown from the Springbok lineout, and Thomas Dutoy, the biggest legs in the Springboks, kind of like just ripped the ball. There was a bit of a grabbing of the ball in the air, just kind of ripped the ball out of the one of the Scotland players' hands. This was a Springboks throw, and he just found himself wide open in front of him. It wasn't pretty far. It was only about 50 meters from the try line. He just ran in for a freebie. 16 points to 12. 32 minutes into the game, the Springboks were penalized for not rolling away. 9 points to 12. 34 minutes into the game, there was a big scrum by the Springboks. And then inside the Scotland 22, there was a big crash ball from Andre Esterhuizen. Ball went out to Villaroo, the second playmaker. Chip over the top for Makazuna Mapimpi catching on the full. Another try. 19 points to 9 for the Springboks. Just for half time, there was a flat ball from Patrick Tupulotu. What's his name? Yeah, from Tupulotu, the captain, to Jordan. And then Jordan ran through a nice inside ball to Ben White. It looked like Scotland had scored a try, and the referee went back and said Hugh Jones knocked on the ball, leading into this. Scrapped off. To everybody's disappointment, this was the right decision. The Bernard Foley clause. 9 points to 19 still. And then finally, just before half time, the Springboks had another penalty, and they failed to find touch. Second half starts 2 minutes into the second half. There was a scrum penalty to Scotland. There was what is it? I think there was a leg. One of the South African players slipped or something, and then it was immediately a penalty. 12 points to 19 to Scotland. 45 minutes in the game, 6 substitutions. The Super Bomb score comes on for the Scotland team, and I think that the commentary was wrong about, it's a professional game. It really shouldn't be saying stuff like that. It's just a bit a bit stupid argument. 60 minutes into the game, Scotland was pounding a lot of pressure, and they were very, very much. I think this was probably the wrong decision here for Scotland. They were very, very much on the front foot. One of the Scotland players went down. They're trying to take a quick tap, and then their own player was on the ground, injured. Not injured, like hurt or something. And the referee's like, no, no, you got a player injured on the ground. You can't take a quick tap. And then after a very long break, Scotland player on the ground taking a very long break. This was eventually decided to take a three. I thought that was a lot of momentum lost because their own player on the ground having a bit of an injury issue. Yeah, they probably should just gut it out a little bit, or at least move out of the way so they can. His own team could have taken a quick tap instead of just like sitting on the ground right in front of the goalpost. Yeah, I thought that was a bit of a misplay by Scotland taking a three. 15 points to 19. If they scored a try here, this would have been a massive shift in momentum. And I think the Springboks would be grateful for the 3 points because they were going to concede a try, it looked like. So Springboks would have been happy to deliberately giving you a penalty for three in that situation there. 64 minutes into the game, the Springboks got a penalty for one of the line-out player. You know, there was a hook on the arm in the air. So Springboks was happy to kick 3 points, 15 points to 22. 72 minutes into the game, there was a penalty for the scrum going down against Scotland. And then South Africa right in front of the goalpost. South Africa taking out a three. And apparently Rassie has told to take another scrum, but the decision on the field overruled Dr. Rassie. So he's probably not going to be happy about that. I didn't look very happy in the commentary box. But I think that's the right decision there, just to make sure you're 2 try ahead. Finally, 78 minutes into the game, another knock on inside the 22. Maybe there was not a knock on, but still the Springboks are more than happy to do the scrum, put the squeeze on. The Scotland reserve scrum completely disintegrated, and the Springbok literally walked through with the scrum for the try. 15 points, 32. Final result, and a big win for the Springboks, and an even bigger sweep for the Southerners. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I need to get a new microphone. Sorry, this is. Thanks for watching. Hopefully the sound is not too bad. It's just literally the open mic picking up sound from the computer. So yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.